Así es, bueno, bienvenidos a un episodio más del podcast. Es el episodio número 19, si no mal recuerdo, número 20, pero bueno, ya estamos cerca de los 20 episodios en el podcast y realmente estoy muy emocionado con el día de hoy porque vuelven los podcasts internacionales. Ya habíamos tenido a gente de diferentes países. Saben que esto nos encanta muchísimo a todos porque es para enriquecer la cultura, para saber de los diferentes países desde el otro lado del mundo, de países como ya hemos tenido aquí, Finlandia, España, Colombia, que fueron los primeros tres y luego nos fuimos yendo a Europa como es Turquía. Y bueno, el día de hoy nos vamos a ir a un país de Asia que se encuentra en Asia y que tengo muchas ganas de conocer porque saben ustedes que a mí me gusta muchísimo la geografía y desde niño había estudiado muchísimo las banderas. Uno de los países que también me llamaba mucho la atención es el día de hoy y lo que vamos a conocer, que seguramente nos va a enriquecer, como lo dije, la cultura hacia todos nosotros. Tengo una invitada muy especial el día de hoy que gracias a Instagram la conocí y gracias al algoritmo y todo esto, de verdad que la maravilla de la tecnología nos permite poder conectarnos. Y pues bueno, este podcast va a ser en inglés, vamos a cambiar como siempre lo decimos el idioma a inglés, pero si están escuchando en YouTube y ustedes son de los que les gustan más los episodios en español o que quieren verlo en español, ya lo saben, vamos a tener los subtítulos en español para el video en inglés. So now, we are changing to the language in English. So I want to introduce to my guest. I am really excited for talking about this country because I am pretty sure that for all of you will be like to know something new, you know. So I want to introduce to my guest to this episode 20, almost 20 of the podcast, international podcast, Aurena. Hi, nice to meet you. Nice to greeting you here. How are you?
I am born. That is Sri Lankan. I'm fine. Gracias. Todo bien.
I am glad that you accepted this invitation. Really, I'm excited to talk about Sri Lanka and anything that that you want to tell us about your country will be always to know more about the culture, you know. So for like introduction to start, for the people that doesn't know you, what can you tell us about what do you do in your social media? If you want to share your social media, your Instagram, your YouTube channel, you can tell us, like a little introduction.
Yes. So I'm Aurena Agathe. I'm half German, half Sri Lankan. So I'm not born in Germany, but I know quite a lot about Sri Lanka. Sorry, I'm born in Germany. I'm not born in Sri Lanka, but I know a lot about Sri Lanka. So my dad is German. My mom is Sri Lankan. I do believe in soulmates. So my parents are soulmates. It's quite an interesting story, but I'm a healer. I'm a psychic. Like I can see and read energies. I work a lot with starseeds all over the world. And Sri Lanka, if you have ever heard about Lemuria, Atlantis, or Mu, the very old civilizations, Sri Lanka is one of them. And when I work and do healing, I always work a lot with nature energy and I connect with nature and I travel all over the world. So I work with ley lines and I activate places, but I also get activated. And I also use that energy from nature to work with people. And I work a lot with starseeds. So starseeds are souls which come from different planets here on Earth to help humanity shift and bring like the 5D or the new world into the Earth realm. You know, it's a bit complicated, but you can always like go to my YouTube. It's in English, it's not in Spanish, or in German, it's Aurena International, or my Instagram. You can see where I travel. So when I tell stories, I always tell the truth. I tell about things which I have spoken to people. So if I say something, then you can be assured that it's correct. I mean, it's not perfect, but it will be like quite true, you know?
Yeah, and definitely all the social media that you mentioned, I will let it in the description below for all the people to know you and that want to or it is interesting in that, to visit you in your YouTube channel, in your Instagram account, and for all the people that are, or the audience that it is hearing in Spotify or in YouTube, it will be in the description below, all the social media that Aurena mentioned here. So yeah, like I told you last day on Instagram, I discovered you thanks to the algorithm, thanks to the live of Instagram that
Thank you.
yeah, that showed me your profile, and the profile, I will say that someone who likes a lot to enjoy the life, to enjoy the travel, all the good vibes, like I told you. And actually, I think that you have been here in Mexico sometimes, right?
I was in Mexico for 1 year. I was in Chanchimhuil, like in Chimhuil, it's between Tulum and Playa del Carmen. So I was there for 1 year.
Okay, that's one of the most beautiful places in Mexico. Actually, one of the most beautiful places for the tourist people. Sorry. So yeah, I'm a fan of all that you mentioned. All that you do, like to spread this energy, and the good vibes. But also, you are from Sri Lanka. Well, like you mentioned, and I discovered that thanks to like I said, to the Instagram. And definitely I say, like, I have to invite you to the podcast because I am super curious with the geography, and all the things that surrounds to the earth and all the countries,
So many amazing places, and Mexico is one of the most beautiful places in the world, even energetically, really, really. I love Mexico.
No, thank you for saying that. Yeah, I think that it's amazing place too. So thank you for accepting the invitation. And now I wanted to ask you, like, talking a little bit of Sri Lanka, because maybe people that it is hearing us, they don't know about this country, or they haven't heard about Sri Lanka. So for starting, how would you describe the place where you live if you have to choose just 3 words?
Okay, first of all, I would love to explain where is Sri Lanka, because because please Google it. Sri Lanka is in South Asia. It's not India, but when you see India, it's like this. And then they say Sri Lanka is the little tier of India. Next to Sri Lanka, you will find the Maldives. So there are 3 oceans. It's the Indian Ocean, the Bay of Bengal, and I think the Pacific Ocean. So there are 3 oceans. That's why the current around Sri Lanka is very strong. If I would use 3 words to describe Sri Lanka: island, a gem, and very, very sacred. Yeah.
Words, and thank you for sharing this like geographic location, or explaining this of Sri Lanka. Actually, when I upload the video, after editing and all the stuff, anything that we are talking here, we will show images or videos, so for the people can understand better the location of Sri Lanka. That I think that it is, like you say, in a special location between these oceans. So I think that all the countries are unique, and they have their own way to describe itself, an interesting choice, like you say, of words. It's like each person has their own personal synopsis of a country, and that makes it super interesting.
Yeah, people always ask where is Sri Lanka, and then I have to say India, but people actually don't like it because India is Hinduism, Sri Lanka has Buddhism. So it's actually very different. Yeah.
It's important to separate this difference, but talking of exclusive things, and the place, or better say, the time that you have lived in Sri Lanka, what are those unique things that you can only see once that you set foot in Sri Lanka? I mean, one thing that you remember, or monuments, or landscapes, or maybe some interesting places that you don't, I mean, you have to go to Sri Lanka to see this.
Yeah. Okay. something I will come to the history of Sri Lanka a little bit later, but something which is very special in Sri Lanka, oh my God, it's the food. The Sri Lankan curries, you don't get it anywhere in the world. And I'm telling you, it's really spicy, mucho picante, but very, very yummy, okay? Like really yummy. You have the rice, but you have blanco arroz, you have rojo arroz, you have morena arroz, so you have different kind of colored rice, okay? But then you don't have one dish, you have different salsas or curries, so like you have many dishes around, and then you mix it and you eat it with the hand. They say on the hand, there are some, I don't know what proteins or something on the fingers. When you eat the food with the, like your rice with the hands, it helps you to digest the food easier. So people eat like the food, the curry is the best, and they eat with the hands. Okay.
So it is kind of like here in Mexico that you like a lot of spicy.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, as each country, I think that has its unique things, you know. And the food actually it is one of the topics that we will touch more forward here in this podcast. A little bit of the typical dishes, you know, because it is like a unique thing that we
Yeah.
like to. How can I say it? We like to touch in every international podcast that we do, you know. So yeah, the food it is always interesting to know of any country. For some countries, you know, like Spain, it is that you can relate it with the bulls, or because it's
Paella.
yeah. I mean the Mexican, I mean sorry, the I will say for
Spanish.
yeah the Spanish,
Yeah.
but for Mexico perhaps
Mexican
it is the tacos,
burrito.
yeah, and all that stuff. Or if we are not talking of food, we can relate it Mexico with mariachi, or you know.
Yes.
A lot of different things. Or for France, I don't know, the Eiffel Tower.
Eiffel Tower, Carnac, Bretagne, croissant,
Yeah.
baguette.
Yeah, but yeah, which I don't know. It is super curious to know these different things about the countries, and yeah. So moving forward to the next question.
Yeah. So so the food is very special to eat with the hands, and something there's a place called Sigiriya. You please Google that. Sigiriya is a very special monument. It's a huge kind of mountain where they had on the mountain they had a palace. You can only find this in Sri Lanka. Also Adams Peak, which is another mountain, you walk almost for like 9 hours up the mountain. And on the top of the mountain, there's a huge footprint, and they say all religions say different. So they say there's a footprint of Buddha. The Muslims say, oh, there's a footprint of the Prophet. So there's Adam's footprint. So those three things, I would say, is very special in Sri Lanka. You cannot find it anywhere in the world. And we can talk about the food later.
Topic definitely in the future here of this podcast. But yeah, talking about the mountains, I think that it is a location that has a lot of mountains, and here in the city that we live, I mean that I live, sorry, I live in the north of Mexico, and we have here a similar kind of a lot of mountains here, you know. So it is one of the topics that I love too much, you know, the nature that surrounds the countries. But yeah, talking about all these things that you can see in your country, is there something that you miss a lot about your land when you are not in your country? On a specific, the food
and my friends.
I understand. I think that sometimes we miss our countries when we are not anymore in them, you know? So there's so many things to do in the life. I'm talking of the days in your country, or the days, or I mean, how would you describe the activities that are normally done in the city where you live?
Okay, I have to say, I have been in Sri Lanka in and out since 2002 or 3. So something which is very special was Sri Lanka had the first female president. Okay, when Chandra Naike, she was running the country, she was the first female president, which was very, very special. So in that time when I was there, to be honest, I loved it a lot because we partied a lot, we celebrated a lot, and women were safe. So after she we had, okay, I'm not talking about only beautiful parts. I will talk how it is, because people always try to cover up the negative things, but I feel it's important that a culture can grow and blossom when you change the things. Yeah, to be honest. So for tourism, it's really, people love going to Sri Lanka for surfing, for the food. We have in Sri Lanka like a hot climate, a cold climate when you go to the Norelia side, which we have tea plantations. So we get the black tea and the green tea. And the old name of Sri Lanka was Ceylon. Have you ever heard the word Ceylon? That was actually the old name of Sri Lanka. So when you see Ceylon tea, it's like C-A, I think Y-L-O-N, Ceylon, Ceylon tea. It's actually the old name from Sri Lanka. Yeah. Yeah. So that time we had a lot of people coming just for sex tourism to Sri Lanka, which was of course not good. So Sri Lanka does have a lot of beach boys. That's why I always stayed away from the beaches, always there, even though they were so beautiful, which was very sad. So I only would travel as a woman with my friends. So then the new government came, and the new government was very strict. They ended a war because we had a very long war between the Tamils, which came from India, and the Sinhalese people. The Tamils are called the lion, and the Sinhalese, Sinhala, Sing, the language is Sinhalese. Singha means lion. So the Sinhalese people didn't want to have the Tamil people in the country. The Tamil people wanted to have more land, of course. But the problem was actually the British people, because they were invading India and Sri Lanka, and they changed a lot, right? And it's never good. Like the Spanish people came to Mexico trying to invade. But what I really love about the Mexican people, they have very strong roots. They said, we don't care about the cross. We put the gods underneath the cross. And when we obey the cross, we obey our own gods. That is awesome. Yeah, Sri Lanka didn't do that. They should have done that. So the religion in Sri Lanka is a lot of Buddhism. And the Buddhist monks, actually, the Dalai Lama is actually the head of the Buddhism, right? But he got banned from Sri Lanka. He's not allowed to go to Sri Lanka because the Buddhist monks in Sri Lanka are actually interfering quite into the political, business, which is not their business. so, so the religion is very strong, political, run by Buddhist monks, which is not good. So I have been to Vietnam, I've been to Thailand, I have been to many parts of the world, and I have to say I don't like and I don't appreciate the Buddhism in Sri Lanka because of the monks there who try to run the country. So it's like the balance between male and female is not really nice. It's not balanced. So when the new president came into power, they are the ones actually who created a big crisis in Sri Lanka. So they had COVID, and now they don't have gas, they don't have petrol, they didn't have any export or import because the old president, like Gota, he really messed up a lot of things in Sri Lanka. So the whole country came together and said, okay, enough. So they were protesting a lot. Now he left, he stepped back, and things are changing. So I do believe things changing for the better because they want more tourism in the country. So they're protecting the tourists. They're making sure the tourists are treated well, because a lot of things happened in the past to tourism, and the politicians were covering up a lot. Like when they were raping the women, when tourists got beaten up, or so many other things happened because the beach area was very, very, people say Mexico is dangerous. To me, Mexico is not dangerous. It was very, very safe for me to travel by myself. And in Sri Lanka, I don't travel by myself. But I know now that it's changing, and it's worth it because Sri Lanka has a lot of beautiful history, which I would love to share with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this, because this is a lot of new context, for the people that doesn't know this these things that are happening actually when I research a little bit, because I research a little bit of Sri Lanka, of your country, before to
Mhm.
do the podcast, for doing the questions and the topics and all that stuff. Yeah, I have read a little bit about the crisis, so I hope so much that really gets time the better. I mean, better times for your country, and I hope that because in probably there's like a mindset of a lot of people that in little countries, or of little countries like close to this area or close to Asia, I don't know. There are so many bad things that tourism it is affected, and but I am pretty sure that with the I mean, I think that the problem probably it is in the government, yeah, like in
Yeah,
another
almost
countries.
totally the government.
It is
Yes.
not the
Yeah.
people, and really, I hate a
No.
lot that so many
Yeah.
people thinks that the people it's bad for bad.
No, it's the government. People can be bad if the government lets it happen. Like when you go to Hawaii and you have like dirt, trash, you just take this and throw it away. You cannot. You have to pay $500 fine. In Sri Lanka, if people throw things away, no one has to pay or do anything. People don't like. There's no government doesn't say anything. So it's always the government. Yes. Yeah, it's like the parents, like if the child is messing up, the parents have to say something, right?
In another international podcast, we have, I mean, we have had here to another guest, like from Europe, like from Finland, from Spain, and they talk about, they said that here in Latin America it is dangerous or something like that, but when they finally travel to here, they
Yeah.
see that it's amazing,
Yeah, it is.
it
It
is
is.
it is like the fake news about the this.
Yes.
It is a lot of this kind of stuff. But well,
Yeah.
returning the topic about the touristic attractions through Sri Lanka, if you have to choose, for example, I don't know, between three or five that you remember, which are your favorite touristic attraction that
Wow. Okay, the first one I told you, Sigiriya. You have to go to Sigiriya. You have to go to Adams Peak, which has that big footprint. I know it's a long walk, but you can walk, you can do it. Take your time, go up there. It's totally worth it. Go to Norelia. It's the most beautiful tea plantation. You will see, the women plucking the tree, the leaves, the tea leaves, and putting it in the bag. And they're very nice people. Um, Anadapura is the rock mountain, the rock temple. It's actually a temple built inside the rock with a huge Buddha statue. It's, oh my God. Actually, the whole of Sri Lanka is so beautiful with the rice fields. You can like it's a small island, but you can take like a car and drive all around the island and see. Yeah. Um, yeah.
yeah, of all of this, I like always because I have here, about this in Sri Lanka, and I haven't seen it to this touristic attraction. I will put some images and even videos, of
Yeah.
these places for all the audience can see the beauty of these attractions. Um,
Yeah.
this podcast. Will look amazing. I am pretty sure for all the beauty things of Sri Lanka after the edition. Don't worry about that. So there's another topic that when I while researching about your country and making these kind of topics, I have seen myths and some topics about your country. So it is one of the topics that we touch this in this international podcast, that you will have to deny if it is true or false, because there are a lot of fake news in the internet. So there is a lot of information on the internet and what people say. So I don't know if this is true. I mean, it's just facts, about Sri Lanka, but I don't know if it is true or not. It is better for a native to confirm it for us. So the first of the five facts says that there's three official languages in your countries, in Sri Lanka.
Mm-hmm. Sinhalese, Tamil, and English. But we have, and we also have, there are a lot of Muslim people, so they speak either Tamil or they speak Arabic.
Okay.
I think Arabic, yeah. But yeah, Tamil, Sinhalese, and English.
Okay, that's good to know. And the other fact says that Sri Lanka it is the like a kingdom of the tea.
Yes. Sri Lanka is famous for the tea, the black tea, the green tea, and the spices. Yes, and cinnamon. Yes.
And it is curious because the other fact that I am reading here, it is something that you already told me that says that the food is really spicy, really, really spicy there.
Um, yeah, it is very spicy. But when I went to Puebla, I ate salsa picante rojo tomate or something. Oh my God, that was so spicy. That was so good. Yeah, yeah. It's a different. Like when you eat in Sri Lanka, it burns on your tongue. In Mexico, it burns in the, in the back. Yeah. It's a very different spices. Yeah. Yeah.
For a lot of the spicy food, and I think that we are used to that sensation. I don't know why, but we like a lot the food with the spicy things. But
Yeah.
the another fact says that the tuk-tuk it is the most popular vehicle.
Yes. Yes. The tuk-tuk, you can get it everywhere all over the country, and it's fun to travel. But the tuk-tuks had a very bad reputation because they could be yeah, like they have a meter, tax meter, like when you use a cab. So some of them are manipulated, some of them go faster or they charge more money. So it's mandatory that a tuk-tuk needs to have a tax meter. If it doesn't have, you always have to bargain with them how much is it's the money value is called Sri Lankan rupees. Okay, Mexico it's pesos, in Sri Lanka it's rupees. So you have to bargain and say how much, and then you have a fixed rate. Very important, muy importante. Okay.
Yeah, that bad reputation hit the taxis here in Mexico so many years ago, but hopefully with the competition of Uber and Didi,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
this gets better.
Yes. Yeah. We have Uber in Sri Lanka too. But always please, because people, especially in Sri Lanka, they try to cheat and you always have to bargain. I didn't have to do that in Mexico. It was much easier. But in India and Sri Lanka, please do. Always take half down. Like if they say 10, you say 5. If they say 100, you say 50.
That's a good advice then. The another fact says that in Sri Lanka it is known like a land of precious stones. I mean, there's a lot of precious stones. Oh, you have one there.
This is a blue sapphire with a diamond.
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
And wait, my other one is not here. Blue sapphire, ruby, diamond, granite, yellow sapphire, the most beautiful gems you can imagine. Yes, Sri Lanka is famous for that. Topaz, opal. Opal is actually more in Australia, but topaz, yeah. Citrine, yeah.
And you know what? I mean, which one is my favorite gem? It is the blue sapphire, actually.
That is a very special one because it's connected to God Shiva, to Archangel Michael. There's something I want to tell you a little story about the blue sapphire. So when you're in India, it's a lot about astrology, right? So people, before they buy the blue sapphire, they wear them for one week, few days. They don't pay for it. They take it from the jewelry store. They keep them. Do you know why? Because either the blue sapphire brings you a lot of luck, then you go back to the store, you pay for it. But if your energy is not matching the blue sapphire, you will have a lot of bad luck. Then you have to bring back the blue sapphire anyways. So blue sapphire is not for everyone. It's very strong energy. It's the number 8. It's Saturn. It's the male energy. So it's a very strong energy.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting to know that. I haven't
Yeah.
know this story. And which you will say that it's your favorite precious stone?
Lose the fire and
Also,
diamond.
okay, that's so good. Actually, the another fact it is that in Sri Lanka, doing this, I mean, like doing this, it is to say yes.
No, no, like this.
No.
You don't do this.
This. Okay, like the. Okay, because here in this side of the world, it's like say no, but in your side of the world, it's like
Yeah.
say yes, right?
Yeah, you do like,
The opposite.
you will go and say something, they do this. You go and say something, they do this. And it can mean anything. You know, it's like...
Okay. Yeah, I had my doubts about this because I researched a little bit, but yeah, it's all completely clear now. That I wanted to ask you about the education too in Sri Lanka. How is the educational system there? You will say that it is good. There's something that you
No.
don't like.
Sri Lankan people in school are the best. But sorry, if it comes to real life, it's, oh my God. Male and female are separate. They're not together, okay? That creates a big problem because later in life, when they reach puberty, they become very desperate. It's on the sexual way, like male, female, it's so laid back, okay? Yeah, totally. Because you put them together, then they get used to each other. They can play and talk and be friends, right? So in Sri Lanka, it's the boys are there and the women are in the kitchen. The guys drink and the women cook. I don't like it. I always like my uncle because I don't do that. I have problems with my uncle. And I don't care because I'm not a woman who just stays in the kitchen and does what the guy says. I'm sorry, I will not do that. And guys cannot just sit and drink and the women do the work. This is something I really don't like in Sri Lanka. The people in the city, they're quite, it's balanced, but they're going to boarding schools abroad in England, America, Australia, so they grow up in a different way, right? The traditional Sri Lankan people, men are going to school, women are going to school, and then they have this very different, not healthy system.
Yeah, I think that education is something that maybe
Yeah.
if we can follow the systems of these countries where the education system is incredible, and it works and they got results. I mean, countries like Finland, like Denmark, like Sweden.
Yes, amazing.
It's amazing educational system, and I don't know why we don't copy that and implement in our countries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Best ever.
Yeah, I think that it's not bad to copy something that works. Talking of the education.
Even Singapore. Singapore has the best management of how they run the country. So many countries are in one country, so many nationals, different país, and one city in one place, and it works amazing.
Yes, yeah, totally. I think that, like I said, it is not bad to copy something that helps you to improve in your country, and more in the most important thing that it is like the education, But well, I don't know. I hope this improves in the future for all the countries that suffer about this lack of education system or something like that. Here in Latin America, it is a big problem too. But well, the time has come for one of my favorites sections in the podcast because I don't know if you see it when I send you the topics, the script. It is called philosophical. Philosophical question. Sorry.
Okay. Sure.
And okay, as you can see here in my cell phone, or I hope that you can see this, it is like a kind of roulette that has 50 questions, and it will be one question of these 50. Philosophical question, it is, question like that of the philosophy for, not always talking of the same topic in the podcast. It is like a little break to talk about the question that just drops here. So I will, as you can see, that spin the roulette. So, okay, it's in Spanish, but I will read it for you.
Okay.
The question or the philosophical question here, it is,
¿Cuál es?
yeah, ¿Cuál es tu definición de perfección? I mean, which is your definition of perfection? For you, what is perfection?
In Sri Lanka or for me?
No, for you. It is a philosophical question. In a
To always do the best and give the best quality. I'm German, so it says, if you can't do it right, don't do it. When you can do it right, you do it. I'm like that.
of perfection for you. That's so cool. This philosophical question, it is always like for all the guests, for all the people that is hearing
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
that it is hearing us here in Spotify. And yeah, everyone has their unique form to define the perfection, you know. But thank you for answering the philosophical question. Being from this country that you know it is literally on the other side of the world for us right now because you are in,
Mhm.
I mean, in the neighbor country in United
Yeah,
States.
yeah.
What is the most um, literally, I mean, the most contrasting thing that you have seen between the culture in your country to this culture in this side of the world? Because people always talk about, like, for example, Japan, it is really different to Mexico or to United States, you know, in the culture, in the people, the actions of the people, the behavior. So what you say that
I
it's really contrasting?
again, it's really about how men treat women. Like when I was in Mexico and I would go to the ocean or to the cenotes, and I would see the fathers playing with their children and the men bringing a juice or water or Coca-Cola to, for the woman, say, hey, what do you need? I bring the food. In Sri Lanka, like in Sri Lanka, if I used to be with like at an event, I had to sit with the women, and it was not nice if I would stay with the man. So for me, it was like when I came to Mexico, it was such a nice thing. It was so beautiful. And I always was like, I'm very emotional. Then I feel like crying because I'm so happy and I'm thinking, wow, that is so beautiful. I wish, yeah, I wish those things will change in Sri Lanka, because I love that about Mexican people, how family is together. When I was in Peru, oh my God, grandfather, grandmother, father, mother, daughter, child, little baby, everyone is playing soccer, everyone. And it's not about winning, it's about playing and having fun. And I was like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. It was so beautiful.
The beautiful thing of the life, and I don't know why it's waiting for doing this in the other country, you know, that has these strict rules.
it's
I don't know.
it's culture, it's tradition, it's the religion, it's the Buddhism in Sri Lanka who messes up a lot. That's how it is, because the monks, you don't want to know what I have seen, whom I have spoken to. It's like, I really hope it's changing and that Dalai Lama can come back to Sri Lanka. This is what I want.
Yeah, I really hope that this change too for all the countries because it's not only Sri Lanka. I am pretty sure that there's a lot of more countries suffering about this contrasting thing about I don't know. I hope that everything goes well for all the people there
Yeah.
and stop suffering for cause of religion or for cause of ideologies, you know.
Yeah.
But
Oh, there's still one tradition I haven't told you about. There's one tradition in Sri Lanka. It's like when young people come to the elderlies, like your mom, your dad, your grandmother, your grandfather are the elders. So what happened is, if you go to anyone's house, you always call an elderly woman auntie or an elderly man uncle. So that is something very nice, very beautiful. So everyone is your brother, everyone is your sister, and they're your auntie or uncle. So even strangers, you say uncle, you say auntie. Okay, that's beautiful. But when you go into an elderly's house, like let's say you go with your I don't know, with your friends. Yeah, no, when you go with your friends to your grandfather's house, you go on the knee and then you bow in front of their legs and then they give you a blessing. So you bow in front of the elders, you go on the ground. Yeah, like even my cousins' children, when they are small, they come and then they bow in front of me. I don't like it. I always but if I do that, then it's very rude, so I have to bless them. Yeah.
Okay. Well, interesting
Yeah.
facts to know about more in enriching the culture. So
Yeah.
people talk like in this kind of difference of the cultures of the countries from Asia to these countries of the west side of the world. Because we are in different sides of the world,
Mhm.
and yeah, I hope that I can have the chance one day to go to the other side to know about this, to filming,
Yeah.
to researching. I think
Yeah.
that it's so nice, so beautiful about to know the history on or things like we are talking here. So yeah, I think that it is true and it is amazing how all we are different. We have our own culture. Our fathers teach us all this
And you know
stuff.
what I really, really love in Mexico? There's a lot of environmental protection, like in Tulum. You cannot throw the toilet paper into the toilet. Like all over Mexico, you cannot do it. But in Sri Lanka, they don't have that. You can just throw everything into the toilet. When you're in Mexico, you protect the animals. You say you have to keep a distance between the dolphins and whales to protect the turtles and everything. In Sri Lanka, you don't have that. There's some. I went once for whale watching, and there were 30 boats coming very close to the whales. It was crazy, todo loco. I didn't like that. So I told the politicians in Sri Lanka they should change those things, which is more nice for the tourism because nature can blossom. So I love that a lot about Mexico, even like America, you protect the animals.
Yes, because here in Mexico, in these zones, like you visited, I mean, the south of Mexico, like Cancun, like
Yeah,
Tulum, they care a lot about this situation because it protects not only the animals,
yeah,
also helps to the tourists,
yes,
to the attraction to the tourists that it's
yeah,
more clean and all that stuff,
yes,
and the tourism it is something super important for here.
yeah. Also, you cannot go with sun cream into the ocean. Sri Lanka, no one cares. I went to LA. It's one of the most beautiful places in Sri Lanka. There are a lot of waterfalls and beautiful rose quartz crystals, and it's called chalcedone, like beautiful crystals, which you have like everywhere. And people take their soap and take a shower in the waterfall, and it smells like soap. And I really hope they changed it now. It was not nice.
I hope that they
Yeah.
can see this video, for these new
Yes,
measures,
yes,
and
yes.
I hope that they can make a
I will post it. I will post it.
and they can make a change. Yeah, but talking a little bit more of geographic stuff.
Hmm.
Actually, I think that you mentioned a little bit in the beginning, but how is the weather in Sri Lanka? I mean, how would you
The
describe
weather,
it? The weather, yeah.
the weather is actually amazing. You have, I think, temperatures between 20 to 40. It can get really hot. So it's all over the country. You don't have snow, you don't have winter. But if you really want to have a cold climate, you go up to Norelia. They have around 8 degrees. So you need a winter jacket, but you will not have snow. They have mist, and it's foggy, it's beautiful. Um, and so you can have all different climates in Sri Lanka. It's actually beautiful. Yeah. And they say Sri Lanka has 80% of the ecosystem, the organic, like animals and crocodiles and birds. It's 80% of the whole 100%. I don't ecosystem. Yeah.
Okay, I think that it is important to know about the weather, and I always
Yeah.
laugh a little bit when people of other countries told me that it is really hot, and they say like between 25 or 34 degrees, because here in the city that I live in Monterrey, it's called
Yeah,
Monterrey,
I know. It's so hot.
the north of Mexico, it's so hot. That's why I think that the south it is more popular for tourism, because here it
Yeah.
is so hot, but also in the winter it is so cold. Here
Hmm.
we have degrees of -1, -2 in December,
Wow.
between December and
Wow.
February. But all the rest of the year, it is super hot,
Hmm.
close to the 40 degrees. But yeah, I think, like I said, that the weather is one of the most important things for the tourist to
Yes,
know when
yes,
you are preparing
yes.
your
But
travel.
we have monsoon, so special time months of the year, there's a lot of rain. So it rains for like 1, 2 hours. Sometimes it rains the whole day and then it stops. So yeah, and then yeah. I mean, I don't mind. I don't care. I just sleep or I'm at home. I don't mind. But some people, you don't want to travel to a country when there's monsoon time.
Yeah, some people cares a lot about the weather, or they prefer the
Yeah,
rain, they prefer the sun. But
yeah,
the weather, it is really getting more important and important, because these
yes,
days I think that it is kind of a relationship with the global warming. That
yes.
we are having, and the most important thing is that we have the control, but we do nothing. I have felt these last years that here in my city, I know that it is so hot, but every year it is hotter and hotter. And I think that it is kind of with this situation.
Yeah, I have to say we have over the millions of years, we always had a pole shift. Like, for example, look at Mexico. We have some areas which are very dry, but you can find fossils of fish. So all over the world, the seasons and everything is changing and shifting. Like in Germany, in December, we had a lot of snow. It was -10 degrees, -6. And now on Christmas, people have sometimes 12 and 20 degrees. Then I was and now the summer is over 40 degrees. It's like really hot in Germany. So when I was in Machu Picchu, I was with my friends. They're around 50 now, 50 years old. They said when they were little, Machu Picchu used to be so warm and so warm. And now when we went there, it was really cold. It's changing all over the world.
Yeah, it's interesting because here it's okay. I mean, here it's the same. In Christmas, I mean, Christmas is one of my favorite times of the year, and
Yeah.
it is like when I was a kid, it is super cool because I said, "Christmas, super cool." I mean, it is super cold, and I will see the snow, and I have never seen the snow in my life. Here in Mexico, it is super weird that we have snow. So
Oh,
now.
then you can go to Mexico City, the volcano. Up there, there's snow.
Yeah, it is a city or a state, I think, called Coahuila. I think that they had snow,
Yeah,
but it
you
is.
can go there. There's snow.
Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity, but but yeah, I would like to go one day. But yeah, like I said, I think that the weather, it is super interesting to know in different sounds of the
Yeah.
world. But now something that it is different and unique in, you will say, I mean, in each country. And also it is beautiful and tasty, and we have talked a little bit. It's the food. The food. Finally, we have reached that topic. So what can you tell us about the dishes of Sri Lanka, and prepare people, because we will see some yummy images.
Okay, there's one liquor which is very famous in Sri Lanka. It's called arak. It's made from the palm tree. It's a kind of rum. They drink it there a lot. I don't alcohol, so I cannot tell you how it tastes or whatever. But um, like tequila is famous in Mexico, which comes from the agave or the cactus, right? The yeah. So the arak comes from the palm tree. So, but that's not the food. Okay, there is something called hopper. It's made of rice flour. It's round, very thin. It's like a pancake. And you use coconut oil, and you can eat it with curry and onion sambal or chili sambal. It's so yummy. And you can also put an egg inside and eat it with the egg. It's an egg hopper then. We have string hoppers. Oh my God, this is like my most favorite. I will never ever forget when I had my first one. It's also made of rice flour. Actually, the Sri Lankan food is amazing for vegan people. It's so tasty, it's so yummy. You have different kind of things and it's almost vegan, but they eat a lot of meat as well. So don't worry. So you take the string hopper which is made a kind of rice paste, like when you make noodles. But then you have this squishing thing, and then you have tiny, fine little noodles, and you make it very flat, and then you steam it and you eat it. You eat it then with curry, the dal curry. Dal is like lentils. Oh my God, it's
That sounds so good. I mean, I am a fan of noodles, and this sounds so good.
yeah. So okay, we have Sri Lankan curry, which already every curry tastes always very different and so yummy. We have jackfruit curry. We have so many different dishes, umbrella, then the string hopper, the egg hopper, the hopper. Then we have something like I don't know how to say it because I don't speak Sinhalese. But it's also made of rice flour, and they mix it and stuff, and then they put it in a pipe, and they steam it, and then you have this, I don't even know how to say, this steamed kind of flour thing. It's round, and then you can smash it and eat it with coconut milk and honey. And now a very famous traditional dish is on Christmas and New Year to eat kiribat. Kiribat is like milk rice, which you eat with onion sambal or chili sambal, or like with a sambal. Um, and it's the most famous one, which you eat on very traditional events. And then they have kind of sweet dishes, but they're very, very sweet. They're very famous. They love it. And then of course, they have their black tea with a lot of sugar. So you always have black tea. um, yeah, I think those are like really famous dishes.
So I really, I mean, I am really hungry right now, and I really want,
Yeah.
yeah, I really want to edit this video because I want to research these dishes and see the images,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
And some dishes, like you describe it, are kind of similar. Like one of dishes that I have researched of other countries, you know, and one from this from Mexico. I think that one looks a lot like a dessert. I don't know if you have tried when you were here.
Yes, that gulup, that ball thing with the sugary thing. But I have to say the Mexican one tastes much better. But it's actually an Indian dish. It's not a Sri Lankan dish. The Hindu people do it. The Mexican food is very similar to the Indian food, but the Indian food and the Sri Lankan food is different.
Okay, well, for other people or the people that are really listening here, like I said, I will put the images after editing this. So if you are hearing this in Spotify, come to see this to YouTube because I am pretty sure that you will love these dishes. But
Yeah.
talking about what are the unique traditions that are lived in your country, I think that you actually mentioned one of them in the beginning of the podcast. A unique tradition that you will choose from your country. I mean, like a unique tradition that is here in Mexico. I think that you have heard about this, the Day of the Dead, the Dia de Muertos
Yes.
in November. What would you say that it is like a kind of tradition of this caliber or this, like in Mexico?
We in India it's Diwali, but we don't have Diwali in Sri Lanka. We have Buddha's birthday, and on Buddha's birthday, which is beautiful, they make those lanterns, and you put light in the lanterns, and everywhere all over they're hanging those lanterns. It's beautiful. Yeah.
It's beautiful always to have lanterns, you know, with
Vesak. The name is Vesak. Vesak.
the name.
Mhm.
Okay,
Vesak.
for researching and put the video. And this is beautiful, you know, to know about the different things. And it is like here in Mexico, like the Day of the Dead, the mariachi things, so the carnivals, you know,
Yeah.
and it is super popular around the world. I think this kind of tradition. I think that any country has their unique tradition.
One more festival which I always wanted to see, but I haven't seen it, which is in Kandy. In Kandy, there are temples all over Sri Lanka, but in Kandy is the temple of Buddha, where the tooth of Buddha is in Kandy. So they have a festival where there are elephants in the parade, but also what they do is I don't know the name, but the man you can hook like like a needle. You hook in the skin, and they hang them, or they put a needle into the tongue. It's like a spiritual festival, I would say. Yeah, I never saw it, but I really wanted to see it. So there's some very spiritual tradition, like some festivals there.
Okay, and this is like doing this one time per year or something like that.
I think, yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, each country has their unique traditions to share
Yeah.
with their population and with the world. But something that, definitely it is to share too. It is the unique things of the country, like artists, national heroes, sorry, films, songs, and etc. And of your country, what would you say? I mean, if you have to choose, we will say three things of artists. It could be artists, articles, films, songs, or national monuments, I don't know, that you will recommend to the people who listen to us, so that they can get to know them. Are there people from your country that you admire a lot, or things, or songs, or I don't know, something?
I'm so sorry to say I'm the worst half Sinhalese or Sri Lankan person. They have a music called Baila, okay? It's actually, to be honest, I'm always wondering how the real Sri Lankan music would sound like. But actually what we have is like when the Portuguese came invading Sri Lanka, they had this Portuguese music, which is now a part of the Sri Lankan culture, which is called Baila. You have it in Goa, but in Goa it sounds a bit different. Um, I cannot listen to it. I love music, but this music is, you can please Google, I have tried to find it on YouTube, but you cannot find it much. But they always play it on Sri Lankan weddings and any kind of events, they will play Baila. But if I try to find it on YouTube, I couldn't find it because I wanted to play it to my friends. And they love it, they love it, they love it. Yeah, and even the Sri Lankan like how to say, like the dramas, it's real drama. No.
Well, I will try to research a little bit. I will try to find some
Please
piece
do.
of a song or that you mentioned, to put it
Yeah.
here. To know these songs. But um,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, thank you so much for sharing this. I always tell to the people that this section, or to ask to the guest.
Like I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
no,
really
no problem,
sorry.
no problem. About this, talking about this in an international podcast help us a lot to know about the history. But at the beginning, you have shared a lot of history here, so thank you for that.
Oh, no, no, no. The real history, can I share with you? Because this is like extraordinary and I love Sri Lanka so much for that history. So in the Hindu culture, we have the story of Rama and Sita. We have like gods like Shiva and Shakti, Vishnu and Lakshmi. We have all those amazing gods, right? So like Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth, and Kali is the goddess of warrior. Shiva is the god of dancing. So we have so many gods. So there is this very old ancient historic story about Rama and Sita when um, it's like Rama was with Sita and Sita got really sick, but the demon from Sri Lanka came and kidnapped Sita, took her from India to Sri Lanka, but she got really sick. So Rama went to the monkey god. I hope I'm telling the real story. Just to please always do your research because sometimes I miss something or I forget. So the monkey god Hanuman, uh, he's actually the god for the healers, or even like I forgot the elephant's god. He's the one of healer, but the Hanuman god, the monkey god, what he did is he took one part of the Himalayas, and the Himalayas is full of herbs and which are good for your body and health. So he took a part of the Himalaya and brought it to Sri Lanka. So till today, they say there's a little island which has very unique herbs which you don't find anywhere in Sri Lanka, only on this little place in Sri Lanka. So they say it comes from Hanuman, the monkey god. So when Sita recovered, they had this bridge, Adam's Bridge. And the Adam's Bridge, they say, was created by the monkeys. Because you can, even from the satellites, there is a bridge between India and Sri Lanka. It's not even 30 minutes away. It's very close to each other, and it's under the water. And they have and they have phenomena like floating stones, and even when they try that the ferries go, they cannot do anything. So they're very, very special, holy, sacred places all over Sri Lanka, which are very ancient, where they even say, oh, they see UFOs. They have very old pyramids, but they're covered up and they got destroyed. Even in Trincomalee, they say there's one pyramid down in the water. And when you go to the Tamil knowledge, because the Sinhalese had a war with the Tamils, right? But the true story is the Tamils have a lot of knowledge, like really old scripts from the Vedas, from the Sanskrit, which they say that Sri Lanka was a part of Lemuria. And they used to call it not Lemuria, they used to call it Kanya. Now it's Kanyakumari, the south of India, but they call it Kumari Kingdom. So it used to be a part of Lemurian. That's why they say there's so many crystals and sapphires and gems, because of that old ancient time, where till today they say there are hidden treasures. The British, the Portuguese, they all try to find those treasures and they cannot find them, you know? So there's a lot of history and mystic in Sri Lanka, which till today people try to discover it. But people, when the world is ready, when the people are ready, those treasures will come
Okay,
up.
sounds like a great adventure, like a interesting story that it could become in a film, I don't know, it is so amazing, and thank you for sharing this, to know for the people that it is hearing this podcast. This was like a history section, and maybe I can make this for another international podcast, sorry, because it is really, really interesting.
Yeah. It's all over the world. I can do a podcast video on that, because they even have a Stargate in the rock temple in close to Anuradhapura, where they found a map on a rock and they call it the Stargate. So it's very famous right now. And even in Mexico, you have all the pyramids, and there's so much going on. Yeah.
All over the world, yeah, like you said. And I think that that's something super cool of the countries and of this beautiful world that we live. Something that it is like a question that it is in all the kind of the podcast, because it happened to our generation. We have lived from 2020 until right now. I think that right now, even we are in pandemic. I am talking of the pandemic. And it is always like I make this question to the guests. How did you live the COVID-19? I don't know if when it happened, you were in your country, in Sri Lanka, or...
I'm so blessed. I had no lockdown. I was always in a country where I was fine and safe. But I know that my friends, and I talk every day to them, they were suffering a lot. They were 2 months in a lockdown. They were not allowed to go out of the house. They were not allowed to go for a walk. Only the business people, they got a special pass, and they could drive around, and everyone else had to stay in the home in the house for 2 months. That is absolute ridiculous. It's absolute. I'm sorry. This is like not okay. So they really suffered. Like they didn't have, they were one of the first islands which shut down and one of the last islands which opened up, because that is the reason I couldn't go back to Sri Lanka. I went for a holiday. I was living in Sri Lanka, and because they closed down the island, I could not go back, which was to me the best thing which could happen, because I had the best time of my life, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think that, like you said, being like in a lockdown, like in a quarantine, It was one of the moments that I suffered so much. I think that it's, I don't know.
Huge
Yeah,
breakup. Huge
yeah, and
breakup.
the most difficult year, I think that it was the starting year, the 2020. I think that we right now are
Yeah.
open up. I mean, all, and it
Yeah.
is the thing. It's getting better. But if you have to choose, I mean, what do you miss about the life before the COVID? Because I think that this pandemic changing the mindset and changing a lot of stuff in the country. So
For me, it was the best time of my life. I'm very, very blessed. As I said, I didn't have any lockdown. I was swimming, I was in the ocean. I could go to places where there were no people. There was no tourism. Um, but I have to say this is my work. This is what I do. Like I help people to be in the right time, in the right place with the right people. And it just showed that I'm doing everything right, that I work with the universe, I work with nature, and my soul, my God, my spirit, whatever, call it whatever you like, they put me into the right places. Like really, if you talk to me about COVID, it was the best time of my life, really.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear your story, to hearing this, because it is one of the unique stories that we have hearing here in this kind of podcast. Because I have always made this question, to all the people that is here, and it is a different version. One's suffering, one's helps you a lot, or they discover another abilities that they don't know that they have it. So it is amazing to know this. But we have touched here a tradition that it is like in all over the world. And I wanted to ask you, how is the Christmas and the New Year in your country, or it is not
Sri
celebrated?
Lanka is the best. Everyone comes back for Christmas and New Year, and everyone parties for 1 or 2 weeks. We all meet and we party, 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 party. It's the best ever. Good food, best parties. Everyone comes, you meet everyone. And one of the best parts in Sri Lanka is, you can fight with your friends, but you will always be good with them. They will not be angry. They will not have this grudge against you. You can fight and be honest with them, and they will still be your friends. And I love this so much about the Sri Lankan people. And especially Christmas and New Year, everyone comes and we meet. And yeah, I love them. I
So you will say that it's your favorite time of the year, also. I
yeah.
mean, yeah. Yeah, it is so good. I think it is so weird that someone don't celebrate the 31 of December. I think that it's one of my favorite days.
And they don't, in Germany, we celebrate Christmas on 24th, but in Sri Lanka, it's on the 25th. So I don't know if which state is in Mexico, but in Sri Lanka, it's 25th. In Germany, it's 24th.
In Mexico, both days,
Yeah,
24 and 25.
but which one is the main one? Like in Germany, we have
Oh,
24,
yeah.
25, but 24 is the main one.
Okay, no, here is 25, the main one.
Okay. See?
And you celebrate also, I mean, in Germany or in Sri Lanka, the 31 of December, the last day of the year?
Yeah, New Year. Yeah.
New Year also. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I think that this is one of the celebrations that maybe sometimes depends. I mean, talking about Christmas, depends a lot of the religion, right? Maybe in other countries, because I have received here guests of other countries that celebrates the Christmas in other way or in other day.
Oh, I had a classmate. We have a religion called the Jehovah's. They don't celebrate Christmas. So when we were celebrating, they were not celebrating.
Yeah, that's what I mean, and maybe in other countries too, it's not celebrated. But there's another kind of celebration like the Christmas, and I think that in all the countries, I mean, it is like the 31. That's what I asked you. that it is like a big party of the year, a carnival or something like that
Yeah,
with
yeah.
fireworks. And in the Chinese year, I think that this is in February or something like that. But
Yes, in China it's in February. And in Sri Lanka, the Buddhists have their New Year around April, May. That's Vesak. That's the New Year in Sri Lanka.
okay, yeah, this is interesting to know because now here we have the normal calendar, we start in January, but going back to when you were in your country in Sri Lanka, do you remember like some place that you describe, sorry, like the weirdest place in your country? I mean, because there are touristic attraction in France that some people, for example, I used the example of France, that this kind of cemetery that it is behind the city. This is one of the weirdest attractions for the people, but it is interesting, to visit it. And in your country, do you remember any touristic attraction like this?
Oh, I mean, I think one of this is the festival I was telling you when they hook like in the tongue and in the skin. I think that's weird. But also if you go to the temples there in Sri Lanka, when you go to the temples, there's the Hindu temples in Colombo and also the Buddhist temples. So they're very different. So if you go there and have a look, that will be very weird and very different from the Mexican culture. Yeah, both the Buddhist and the Hinduism.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, I will put some video about that because I would love to see this after the edition. Like I said,
yeah.
because I want to research about these places, these touristic attractions that we have mentioned here, and I am pretty sure that our audience too. So, talking about the audience, there's a section here that it is questions of the audience that it is called Q Crowd. By Instagram, we make like a survey and they put some questions for the guest, for you this time. So what? Well, right now it is the Q Crowd section. I always like to read about the people that it is going to ask. So the first user, it is a giant performer, and they sorry, he or she ask, what's the famous place in Sri Lanka for you? The famous
My most
famous.
famous,
I
it's
mean one.
I think it's Adam's Peak. The most famous is Adam's Peak in Sigiriya.
Okay. I will
Mm-hmm.
put like I always say the image of this, and I hope that the question it is replied for giant performer. Yeah. The next question it is a question about sports that makes Ricky Tristian. It is the name of the user. So the most popular sport in Sri Lanka.
Rugby and cricket. They go crazy about rugby and cricket.
And you like these sports, these two sports?
I love rugby, but not cricket. But if you play cricket, it's really fun because when they watch cricket, it can go on for the whole entire day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question, it is from Islander Topic, and it is the last one. It is a weird question, but well, he says that if you can mix or make like a fusion with another country, I mean Sri Lanka with fusion with another country, what country would you choose?
I'm a mix between Sri Lanka and Germany.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's the answer. Yeah, really. The
Yeah, I'm
measures.
the fusion here, sitting here.
Yeah, totally reply that question for.
Oh, they have something special which when you were asking about Sri Lanka. So because we had in the history, we had the Portuguese coming, we had the Dutch coming, we had the British people coming. We have some from the Portuguese time. We have still some African people in Sri Lanka. They're like very dark, okay, which you can see in very small places. But there's something called the burgers. The burgers are from the Dutch people when they mixed with the Sri Lankan. And this is something I don't like because the Sri Lankan people don't like the burgers much because they're very fair and they have this foreign look, but they're actually Sri Lankan. So it's like, yeah, yeah. So this is something which is also in Sri Lanka.
Okay, it is kind of that the situation that lives a lot in Europe, that and this is a bad situation. I mean, because it is getting more racist or something like that
Yeah,
for
it's
the
like
people
with the
that comes.
Aborigines. Yeah,
Yeah, the people
like
that
that.
comes from Asia and it is like born in Europe, but well,
Yeah.
that's another topic. And almost for finishing this edition of podcast, we will finish with a kind of mini game. But before to reach that, speaking of literally power, this is a kind of question that I created when I was creating the topics, and I wanted to tell you, if someone tells you tomorrow, I don't know, someone, that you will meet a genius or a creature that will make you through 3 wishes, but only that 3 wishes will how can I say it? Will I forgot the word. Sorry. Will function or will
I entiende. See, it will
yeah.
come to truth. It will happen when?
Yeah, will come true, but just only for your country. Not you can't like wish super be a millionaire or something like that.
Yeah.
You have to just choose 3 things that you have to change for your country level. I mean, just for
Already I'm doing. Okay, so one thing is I want a balance between women and men. This is my very first wish. My first wish is that Sri Lanka protects nature. This is my very first wish. The second wish is about the women and the men, that there is a balance. And the third wish is I really want peace inside and outside and around Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka is one of the islands. They had over hundreds and thousands of years war, with the Indians tried to conquer Sri Lanka because of the gem and crystals, and the Dutch, the British, the Portuguese, the American, everyone wants something from Sri Lanka. I just want peace for them, that they can have what is their own. This is what I want.
what a kind wishes. This is what I wanted to hear. That's so cool, and I hope that, I mean, we will tell you. Don't worry, we will tell you to the genius and to the creator to fulfill these wishes.
Thank you. I think it's already happening, because you asked me to do this video with you, that podcast, and that's the only thing. I'm going out in the world and I'm showing Sri Lanka everything is possible, especially for the women there.
Yeah, everything is possible, and I hope that this comes through really soon as possible. But yeah, like I told you, we will finish about this podcast. Thank you so much for accepting.
You forgot something. You forgot what you should not do in Sri Lanka.
Oh yeah, sorry. Oh my God. Thanks for remember that topic. Yeah. Well, tell us, what should not do in Sri Lanka, and please take notes about this.
Yes, please. So if you have a tattoo of a Buddha on your body or t-shirt, please don't show it, okay? Because they can put you in prison for that, okay? I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know. They told me, because when I went with my friend there and he had a t-shirt of Buddha, he had to remove it. So if you have a tattoo of a Buddha, you have to cover it up. If you are in a temple, you cannot put your back towards the face of Buddha. You have to stay next to the Buddha. Very serious, okay? They're not making jokes. You cannot kiss in public. You cannot kiss in public. You cannot have sex in public. You cannot be nude in public, okay? Like in Germany, you have nude beaches. You can kiss, you can give hands, no problem. It's a part of the culture. You go in sauna naked. In Sri Lanka, if you're in a sauna, put on a bikini. You cannot be naked, okay? Okay. What else? You cannot take drugs, even though they have drugs. Yeah, but those religious things are like very serious. I think that's it. Right now, I don't remember anything else, but I feel that was very important.
Oh my God, well, thanks for remember me this topic because it was really important. Imagine that I go to Sri Lanka without knowing this. But yeah, this is kind like a kind of Laos then?
It's a what?
Laos.
Laos?
Laos, like leyes in Spanish. I mean, something that it is a rule for the government.
Oh yeah, it's religious. That's why I said the monks in Sri Lanka, they are something.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing this important information. And well, now it's time to go to finish with the mini game of the podcast. Well, I think that I explained this in Instagram. Finally, we are going to end with the war of idioms. This kind of words that are unique from your country and from my country.
Yeah.
You will have to choose 5 words, I don't know, from Sri Lanka that are idioms in your country, and I will have to, well, the same, right? Okay, if you want, you can. Well, I will start with
You start.
with a idiom from my country, and then you drop me one,
Try to
and then I
Okay.
for not doing like the 5 in a row, just one, and then you one, and then I one. Okay, the first one, I am starting easily. I think that you have heard this. It is super popular. The word, it is way.
Way?
Way. What do you think that it means? Maybe I can. No. Maybe I can give you a clue. It is. I mean, this word, it is more used by men, but you can hear it like when the men are in a group, and it is like, way, Ben, I mean, come.
So it means come.
No. Well,
No.
Another context,
Like venga? I don't know.
It's like a...
I don't know. You have to tell. I don't know.
Okay, well, it is like a synonym of dude or bro. It is a way to say friend or something like that. But also it means something more strong because, in Mexico we have a lot of idioms and we use one word for different meanings. And way, it can mean bro, dude, friend, but it also can mean fool or stupid, you can say to someone like, estás way, and it is like, you are stupid. Or you can say, come here way, and it is like, friend.
Hey, bro.
Friend,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so I have a word for you which is Sri Lankan and you will hear it a lot. It's machang.
Chan. Did I have pronounced it well, my chan?
Yeah, perfect.
I don't know why, but I haven't heard it. I don't know if it's like a kind of food.
No, it's actually something like when you have a friend, you call your friend Machang. Machang, come. How are you doing, Machang? So it's like friend. Yeah, Machang.
It is like way, like dude,
It's like
bro.
way, yeah.
Okay.
Your turn.
We are learning here. The next word we are using, well, it is super using in the north of Mexico, and it is arre.
Arre means like, I don't like it, maybe like that. Or like, okay, like this.
No, it is more like, I can give you a clue, like, okay, I will use it, and you can imagine the situation.
Okay.
It is like, hey, dude, arre, let's go to another country or another place.
It's like, vamos, auf geht. It's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it is, let's go.
Cool. Okay, in Sri Lanka, there's a word. Please don't think it's a bad word. It's not Spanish. You say puta.
Okay, yeah, I understand.
But it's not Spanish, okay?
Okay, in Sri Lanka, this could be Like if you are doing like damn or something like that?
No, it's actually son, my son. Son, puta, come, like my son. Yeah.
Okay.
It's very different.
Right, really, really different. Okay, a word here that we can use in any context, it is like chin.
Chin, to drink?
No. I will give you another clue, like I will act it. It is like chin.
Oh my God, I forgot. Or like
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. It is more like saying in English it is like damn. You know, when you make a mistake.
Okay. Okay. I have a word for you. I had machang, I had puta, now the third one. Um, mm, uh, Epa. Epa.
Epa, that sounds like a idiom actually here in Mexico. Um, it is like come. I mean, come
No,
here.
I mean, it's like you say that when you don't like something. Epa.
Oh, okay. Epa,
So it's
I
like,
think that
no, I don't,
no,
no, Epa, nothing, no.
like you are not agree with that or you don't like
Yeah,
it.
Epa, no.
Yeah, that's a good. It's a cute word. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, the fourth one. It's. I think that you can guess this. It is like cubole, cubole.
No, I don't know.
Okay, I will act it for you. And it's like, hey, cubole.
Hey, my friend.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. It is a way to say hi or what's up. What's up?
Okay. Oh my God, I forgot so many words. That's the thing, Wait.
No problem. No problem.
Bahomastuti.
Oh, okay, this sounds different.
I hope I said it right, because Sri Lanka, when they talk, it can be like very long, and then actually the meaning is like this.
Okay, I have no idea. Um, maybe.
It's like if I give you something, you will say Bahomastuti.
Okay, it is like thank you or something like that. Thank you. Okay. Okay, the last one. I would say the last one here. It is a little bit more longer. It is a phrase actually. It is a phrase. But well, it's more difficult to know this. But it is a darle que es mole de olla. It is a darle que es mole. Sorry, a darle que es mole de olla.
No.
It is like to say, let's hurry up, let's make this quick, you know?
Okay. Okay, so I have okay. Wow, all those words I never heard when I was there. Okay, I have one last word that is Nangi.
Nangi. It is like to deny something. I mean, to say no.
It's what they have in Sri Lanka. It's actually nice. If you have a sister, you can have a younger sister or an elder sister. So a Nangi is the younger sister. If you have a younger brother, it's Mali. If you have an elder brother, it's Aya. So they have different names for younger and elder, or first cousin, second cousin. They have stuff like that,
Okay. Yeah, I think that in all the countries it is like this kind of idioms for referring to the people, to your family. To here we have a lot like this, like viejo, chavo. There's some words in Spanish for saying young people. Primo. Well, primo also it is like to say that friend, hey primo, what's up or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think that we have learned a lot with this podcast. Thank you so much for accepting.
You're welcome. Oh, And one famous city which is new, which came up actually just this year, just a few months ago, which I haven't seen, but I'm just doing the Oktoberfest for Sri Lanka, is Port City. It's new, it's in Colombo. It's like something like in Dubai, they have put a lot of sand and they created like a little island to make the city bigger in the ocean. So there's a new part of Colombo, which is called Port City. That's famous now. I haven't seen it.
Oh my God, that city. I mean, I haven't heard of that city, and sounds amazing. If it is like Dubai, you know, I think that it is a idea that it is more common, like to build this kind of islands or something like that. But like I said, Aurena, thank you so much for accepting this invitation. I think that this is the end of the podcast number 20. Number 20, sorry. I said it in Spanish. Number 20. And I hope that for all the audience, it helps you a lot to know more about this beautiful country, that it has beauty things, it has bad things like all the countries, you know, but it is super important to know, and I think that this is the objective, you know, of the podcast, to reach in the culture, in the geography, in all that beauty stuff of the countries. So like a little final reflection that you wanted to say for finishing this podcast.
Because Sri Lanka is full of opposites. As I said, it's a beautiful island and country, but we have the Buddhists, the Sinhalese, and then we have the Tamil and the Hindus. And both cultures are beautiful, and I just want you to be open for all the cultures in Sri Lanka. We even have a lot of Muslims there, and there's good and bad everywhere, all over the world. So just go anywhere you want, go anywhere, because you have to find it out yourself. And you will meet good people if you're ready for good people. You will meet bad people when you're ready for bad people. So don't go to a country and be scared. Go to a country and be conscious about what's going on, and then make your decision, you know?
Thank you so much for sharing these words. So this is the end of the episode number 20 of the podcast, Sri Lanka. So thank you so much for accepting the invitation. I hope that your good wishes come true. And this is the end. So thank you for watching, and all the links for the social media of Aurena, it will be in the description below. So thank you, Aurena, and bye.